We are tearing up my pod with singer, actor, film, and television producer, and fellow podcaster Lance Bass. Lance shares what it was like growing up in a boy band, if not the boy band, while holding on to a deep personal secret, to finding happiness in his true self, to how life has changed as a married father of twin 16-month-old babies. This is Just Be with Lance Bass. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How have you been?
I'm well. I was thinking about how we know each other, and I kind of feel like we know each other. I feel like I really know you, but I don't. I met you years ago at Polo in the Hamptons.
Yeah.
And it was the day that, I don't think you know this, that was the day that I ran into Jill Zarin, and she was like, "What are you doing here? How'd you get the VIP bracelet? Where are the gift bags?" And I was there hawking my Bethenny Bakes cookies, and I'm sure I hawked to you, and I couldn't even afford the ticket to get into that. That was Super Saturday. It was $500, and I finagled that. And then you smelled really good, and I asked you what you smelled like, and you were wearing Kiehl's musk, and I then bought it. I loved it for years. That's my first understanding of meeting you.
I love that, because I thought our first, I don't even know if this was before that, but I remember at Chef Dance and Sundance.
Oh, you're right. Then that might have been why I had the in to say hello to you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I remember, because I was just at Sundance. I'm like, oh, I think this is where I met Bethenny.
Stop it, because Cheryl Hines just reminded me that she met me there, and she had a very funny point of view of like what I was like there. She's like, "I didn't know who you were. I was sitting with Tim Robbins," and she said, "But you were just like working that room, and you had a purpose, and I didn't know what it was, but I knew that you were doing something that seemed important."
100%. That's what I thought.
I was selling something. That's funny. Okay, so I then ran into you then, and always have felt like I've known you, because I don't know, I feel like I've just seen you different places, but I really like you, and I'm really excited that you're doing the show, but I don't know a lot about your background. I don't know a lot about your life. And all I know is that you were in a very famous boy band, that you came out, that you got married to Michael Turchin, who is the name of someone that I went to college with and still am friends with, and have twins. So you grew up in, where did you grow up?
So I was born in a place called Laurel, Mississippi.
Okay.
I don't know if you watch that HGTV show called Hometown, but that's about hometown. So it's a very, very teeny town. In fact, I was born there, but kind of raised right next door, 5 minutes away, in a little place called Ellisville. So town of 2,000 people. So I grew up in the country.
And do you go back, and do you feel connected to it, or does it feel like another planet?
No, I do. I still feel very at home when I go back. All my family still lives there. I'm the only person to have escaped and gone off to do something. But yeah, I get back at least 3-4 times a year. Get to see my family, my grandparents. Now that we have kids, I try to bring them home as much as possible. And our saving grace is that we're right next to New Orleans. So we're about an hour and a half from New Orleans. So I would be able to fly into New Orleans, because it's a straight flight, especially with kids. It's a lot easier to do that, and then just drive to my family.
So you dip in and out. You have a little bit of like real country, and then a little bit of that.
Exactly. It humbles you for sure. And all my high school friends were very, very close. So we all keep in touch. There's a bunch of us. So we're always hanging out, and they're meeting me in New Orleans a good bit too.
Well, I guess there are probably so many people listening that are from small towns. Like, how do you get out? If there are movies about this, like, not that there's not anything wrong with living in a small town, but this is what people dream about. So, getting out in the big wide world. How do you get out?
I guess you just dream. I don't know. I was in such a small town, and I didn't even know I didn't know I could ever go into entertainment or anything that I actually wanted to do. Because I don't know, just dreams never existed really for people like me. So it was nothing I was really going for. It just kind of landed in my lap. And I find that happens to a lot of my friends in the business too, that they work hard, but the opportunity just kind of landed in their lap. And, the one that started with me was, I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. And the NSYNC guys were putting the band together in Orlando, and Justin knew me through a vocal coach, because he lived in Memphis, and I lived around Jackson at that time. So the vocal coach would come down to Jackson and teach some kids. I was in another boy band called Seven Card Stud.
I
There were
like
seven.
that. That's not like that name.
There were seven of us. We would compete in state fairs, just local stupid little, group that we put together, never thinking we would ever do anything with it. And then, yeah, Justin called and said, "Hey, we're looking for a bass singer. I hear you're a great bass singer. Would you like to come join this group that we put together?" And that's how it
Wow.
all started.
But you did no, but to that point, you did take one step at a time. It's a marathon. So you were at the first mile by knowing that you like to sing and then joining something and then getting to these little things
Yeah.
exponentially add up. So you
Yeah,
were
it does. And it prepared me because I was lucky enough to be in this town that it was the number one show choir in the world called Attaché. And I didn't really know much about the show choir world, but it is intense. I mean, it's the Olympics. And so it's these high school kids that I don't know how they come together and do all of the singing and dancing that's so synchronized. But my director, David Fair, he was just one of those just asshole directors that, just made everyone cry and just such a hard ass. But he's the one who really instilled what I needed to have in me to get into this business.
That's funny because I had an English teacher that was a nightmare and ended up getting fired because of this, like to the point where people felt that it was almost bullying.
Yeah.
Where you would do a math, English, you would do an English, there'd be a question and you might get the whole thing right grammatically, but if maybe you spelled something wrong and that wasn't even what the whole thing was about, you get all of these points off. He was just like evil. You could never get close to getting an A. Yeah. But I learned everything from him. It's funny that you say that. Yeah. So that's an interesting thing about us coddling our kids and wrapping them in bubble wrap,
It's true. And you don't obviously understand what's going on when you're that young, but the fact that now I can deal with anyone in this business, I'm like, you'll never compare. Like, I got this. I'm good.
That's amazing. I got to go back and find this guy's name. That's amazing because I feel the same exact way. So now, how long was the whole NSYNC ride?
We got together in 1995.
Okay.
And then it took us a good year to get recognized in a record deal. I mean, it was a long journey for us. Okay. America wouldn't sign us at all, so we actually signed to a German label in Munich. So we were a German band the first 2 years before we came to America, and then we came to America in 1998, and then it just blew up. I mean, Germany was huge for us,
right?
But we got to America. And it was a slow roll. We came out with a song called "I Want You Back," and it was like, all right, like, it did okay. It hit the top 40 maybe, but then we did a Disney special that aired every day for 3 months, and that's what just blew us up in America. So just overnight, it felt like we were the biggest band in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, and it just did not stop until we took our hiatus in 2002 or 2003. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the question I have, well, were you making money or was it these cliche situations with these boy bands and the managers where you don't know what the hell you're signing and you just want to be part of it and you don't make anything?
Yeah, we would be the picture, in the dictionary of being screwed in the business. Yeah, we didn't make any money really with NSYNC. Lou Pearlman, took all of that. So we had the worst deal in music history. Us and the Backstreet Boys, we had the same deal. They just kind of scratched out the names.
Right.
Yeah, so we didn't really make too much during the NSYNC days.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's hard to find a parallel between boy bands and the Housewives, but they're both campy, sometimes cheesy, cultural phenomenons where you get these breakout characters. Yeah. And I made $7,250 the first season. Yeah. And sometimes you're a little embarrassed, but you also revel in it and you love it and it's where you came from. Yeah. And then you're trying to extend. How do you extend the 15 minutes of that, right? Because it's, exactly. Some people don't think you're not real. It's not real. It's not real music. It's not real television. It's not real entertainment, right? I mean, there are some parallels. So how did you have a plan to extend or you just always went with your passion? Like, what were you thinking about it when it ended, and how did you, evolve that into what your career is now, which is varied?
Yeah, it's when it ended, I didn't know it was ending. So we were literally just taking a 6-month hiatus, that's when I was asked to go to space. So I went over to Russia and I trained to become a cosmonaut during those 6 months. And while I was over there in Russia, living on a military base with zero communication, I knew I had this limited amount of time in order, to do this mission. So I had exactly 6 months and I had to be back November 1st. And so my mission ended up getting scrapped at the last minute, and they wanted to extend it and say, well, you can fly in April. And I'm like, no, I have to go back. I have to be back November 1st to start this new album. And then I get back and there was nothing to come back to. So, the hiatus kept getting extended and extended. So I wasn't really thinking about what is my next move? What am I supposed to do? Because I didn't think there was a second chapter.
How old were you then? And what were you told was the reason for the hiatus?
I think I was 23, and yeah, it was Justin was doing a solo album. He didn't think that it would blow up so much and so quickly. So he wanted to do the solo album during our hiatus. And then when we came back, it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so, and he became Justin Timberlake. So there was no way we were going to stop that role.
Right.
And it still hasn't today.
Fascinating. And what about being gay in the South in a tiny town, or knowing you're gay, probably saying you're not gay and coming out? And what about that whole piece of the pie?
That was,
and being in a boy band and being gay.
Yeah. God's little joke put me in a boy band.
Yes.
99% of your audience is cute girls.
Yeah.
But
you get to be in a boy band.
I mean, yeah. But no, it was scary for sure. It was a different time. 20 years ago, the country did not like gay people. It was very scary because you would get examples of like Ellen DeGeneres and so how she was treated when she came out, and just everyone, when you come out, you lose your job, not only in entertainment, but in any other, job in this world. I mean, you could just get fired for being gay.
Right.
So we didn't have any really good positive examples of the LGBT community when it comes to work.
What you were marketing, who you were, your target audience, would be wiping that out.
Exactly. And you just felt like you're lying, which I was lying, but
right.
It was entertainment. So yeah, I knew I was gay at 5 years old. I knew it was something I'd have to hide my whole life because especially then I was super religious. So I was that kid that always would go to bed and try to pray the gay away and please next morning, I don't want to be gay. But in that just that was your daily life for as long as I remember, is just thinking about, I have to hide this. I have to hide this because if I don't, I really could die. Like someone could kill me. That's how you felt.
That's torture. That sounds like absolute like that literally sounds like torment, mental, emotional, physical torment.
Yeah. And it got really bad when, you hit puberty and everyone's dating and, you're starting to want to have a relationship and you start toying around with, straight relationships. And I had a girlfriend that I really thought I loved, but not knowing what love truly felt like.
Right.
But yeah, it's, and then all the guys, go home to their girlfriends when we have like a day off or something. And then I have to make excuses of why I haven't met someone. And, keeping that secret from your 4 best friends that obviously know something's up,
Yes.
It's like they're not stupid. But I just thought even if I told those guys that all our careers would be over, they would hate me and the band would be over.
So you had it going many different directions. Like, and how much did you see in your small town environment other people that were gay that you felt were going through the same thing?
Well, there were 0 in my town. And even when I moved to the next town that had, 15,000 people, there was 0 out people. But, there was one kid in our class that was very obviously, gay. And people would, make fun of him and the jokes, it was never in danger because everyone just kind of assumed whatever. But the jokes everyone would make would just make me feel so uncomfortable. And that even made me go deeper in the closet, for people thinking that I was telling me the real tea. I just knew I would never be able to. And then now, because I am so close with a lot of my high school friends, there's several of us that have come out, and so there was definitely, oh yeah. And that guy in particular, just came out just a few years ago and living his best life.
It's amazing because in my lifetime, in my high school, I remember the guy, the girl that just seemed different, because someone in our high school being gay wasn't even something that we thought about. Like, it was just like, I didn't even know to think that he was gay. He just was very, very, he dressed very flamboyant and very, alternative and to what everybody else was doing. But I just didn't think that anyone in my high school was gay. It wasn't a conversation, to your point. It wasn't a conversation.
Exactly.
At all. That's crazy. Yeah. It's amazing. In my high school. So did you try to disassociate from boy band life? Did you revel in it? You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm doing a podcast called Rewives, where I'm really appreciating and reflecting on it in a different way versus just having left it and wanting to like have it be over there. I'm coming at it in an entirely different way that I like. On my terms. So I'm wondering if you had that moment where you wanted to like not be the boy band guy and be something different, but then appreciated it because it's such a great thing in history and entertainment history.
I think the same way. At first, when I was trying to figure out where do I belong in the entertainment, I was embarrassed to be part of the boy band world, because especially then, now people admittedly love boy bands, guys do, it's kind of like a fun thing now. And I think the word boy band has evolved into so many different groups, like Boys to Men and even the Beatles, like everyone's kind of like together now. But then it was, we got made fun of so much. The music industry did not like us. They used us for ratings, but they didn't like us.
That's what I'm saying. I feel the same exact way. Like, nobody takes anybody seriously who's on the Housewives. No. But they're all watching, and people are making more money than people in real entertainment. It's interesting what you're saying.
They're taking advantage of us, saying, "Oh, this is like kid music. It's not real." We were writing our stuff. Our music was great, and then you start to think, well, maybe we are horrible. Maybe we aren't talented. You start like believing what these people are saying. When the Grammys nominate you 9 times and they don't give you one, but they're going to make you perform every time to make sure people are watching. Like, screw you. It's just, we were just not taken seriously at all. I think today we actually would be. And, I think because now you're looking at that young generation of the Justin Biebers and the Taylor Swifts, and, they get all the accolades. They all, people really respect them in the business.
Right.
But, back in our day, teenage groups and pop stars like Britney Spears and, Christina Aguilera just didn't get their dues because they were just like kids.
It's funny. This is not the exact same by any means. Back in my day, celebrities didn't hold alcohol. You put your drink down before you took a picture. And then Skinnygirl comes out and everybody's got a liquor brand. Everybody's got a liquor brand, because now, you know what I'm saying? Back then, nobody would have a liquor brand. That would be, so it's just funny how things evolve. One person does it and then it becomes a whole new trend.
It's true. And then you get smart. You're like, wait a minute, why aren't we making this money like everyone else is doing? So like, thanks to you, people are looking at things a different way. They're like, wait a minute, because this is a finite amount of time that I'm going to be on this TV show or doing this, this music. You have to figure out, how are you going to set yourself up for the rest of your life?
Exactly.
And that's what was so confusing to me, being in a band like that where no one really took me seriously. And I was more interested in TV and film. I always was. So, I would always produce, and I love writing, TV and film. But going into an industry like TV and film, coming from this boy band era, was not an easy transition, because
absolutely not.
Yeah, they just like doing.
Yeah, I think you leaning into it, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, we all get caught up in imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was talking to Paul, my fiance, a couple of years ago, and he was like, I didn't know what a rewatch. I've never listened to a podcast. I don't listen to So he said they're doing these rewatch podcasts. And I said, I don't know what that is. And he's like, they're doing, I don't know if it was Scrubs or I forgot what he was saying. And he's like, someone is going to do this with the Housewives. And I said, right, but like, that's lame. Like, am I doing that? And he was like, I don't know. That changes on the floor. He said this. I would never say this about myself. He's like, people want to hear Tom Brady talk about the game. They don't want to hear some like 5th string housewife. You should be talking about the housewives from the inside and the outside. So it took me a while to lean into it, and it's massively successful. And I'm thinking, why was I being the way that you are about the boy band thing? Like, lean in, so.
It's true. And people, you got to give the people what they want. And yes,
Thank
you're always
you.
like, don't live in the past. Don't live. And I was always afraid to do a show like Frosted Tips where we just talk about boy bands, but man, these fans love it. And because
Yeah.
you know the stories, it might be boring to you, but to the fandoms, they're like, oh my gosh, they've never heard this story before. And it's just so exciting for them.
Thank you. Exactly. I didn't understand it. It's so niche, but that's kind of what TikTok is. And I know you love TikTok. Somebody could be organizing buttons and there's an audience. Talk about seaweed. Like
So
it's
true.
niche. So there's a lot of niche content out there right now, and you seem to like it, as do I. It's just nuanced.
Yeah.
So talk about. Well, are you tired? Like you have 2 kids now, and I mean tired because of being a parent. But I just had this entertainment lawyer on the phone today, and he was like, we could really build this into this, and we could do that into that, and blah blah blah. And I go, and I say this 5 times a week. It's a deal that's almost going to not go through. I go, I don't care. That didn't happen. That didn't get picked up. I don't care at all. I really am the person that's like, I looked at my balance. I'm good. I don't want to be a billionaire. I come on here. I say whatever the fuck I want. And I'm happy. If it rolls in and it knocks on the door and it's a bag of cash wrapped in a bow, put it over here and I'll take it and I'll be happy to take that pile. But other than that, I'm good.
I am right
tired.
there with you. And it took me years to get to that level. I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why am I running myself so ragged?
Yes.
Traveling all the time to this gig when I could just like enjoy my life.
Yes.
To you. Like it's going to come to you. If it doesn't get developed, great, fine, whatever. I'm good. I am good. Yeah.
It's so true. Do you mind if I ask? You're younger than I am. Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
Yeah, I'm 43.
You're 43. And you're young. So yeah, I'm 10 years older than you. So think about how you feel now. And it's just like people choose. I see these people. I see these celebrities. I see filling the calendar. And we got to go there and we got to go here. And their identity is how busy they are and the running. And I think that definitely you having twins definitely stopped you in your tracks.
Yeah, but the learning the power of no, that's what I learned.
Yeah.
Once I started saying no to all these things, everything came to me. Like all the
quality
good stuff. The quality just went way up.
Same.
So like once I learned that, I'm like, okay, I'm good. The universe is going to give me what I need and I can actually enjoy my life.
Same. It's clean, it's lean, it's less is more, and it's quality. It's so true. And you become the least interested party who usually wins.
Yeah.
So Michael Turchin, how did you meet him and what does he do? And what's your parenting style and what's your yin and yang? Like who's who in the relationship? You're the peacock, I guess. What's the dynamic?
Yeah. We definitely are opposite people. I'm just very out there and I talk too much and he's just very reserved and quiet, but it works. We met 12 years ago was our first date at Super Bowl.
Really?
And so, hey, Michael, come say hi. He's right here. We met, Super Bowl. Well, we met before that, but our first date was Super Bowl 12 years ago. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Wait, have you all met before?
I feel like we have, but I don't remember where. Have we ever met?
I think maybe in passing briefly.
Yeah.
But
this is the guy you need on Housewives. He is like, he knows.
He knows the thing.
That is his sport. Housewives is like his football.
So you had a date at Super Bowl or you met at Super Bowl?
No, it was our first date at Super Bowl.
Nice to see you, Michael.
Yeah, sorry, babies are crying now in the back.
Oh, you texted and said, hey, we're both going to be at Super Bowl? Explain.
Well, we oddly, Halloween before, 2 different days, 2 different outfits. We have pictures together, but our friends never introduced us. So I have pictures with him, but I never met him.
Okay.
And then 2 months later, we're at a friend's birthday party in Palm Springs, and that's when I really met him. And we had a good 15-minute conversation. I was heading back to Los Angeles. And then on my way back to LA, he Facebook poked me. Yeah, you remember that thing?
Yeah.
And then we just kind of started a conversation and we spent every day together as best friends because I didn't think he liked me. So I was like, you know what? I need to become really good friends with this guy so I get over the attraction. And then Super Bowl came around and we kind of went out that day and it was kind of a date, but I didn't know if it was a date. It ended up being a date. So, yeah.
And how long ago was that?
That was 12 years ago.
And is he in the entertainment industry?
No, he's a painter. He does pop art, like a really,
is
really.
Is that his behind the hand?
Yeah, that's his. And
I like that a lot. It reminds me of something and I can't think of what. They're all his?
He's getting ready for the LA art show this week. So, I mean, this house is just covered in glitter.
That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what about the choice to have kids? Were both of you on board?
Mm.
And twins? Like, what is that whole process?
Yeah. Well, I knew that he wanted a family just like myself early on in
Mm-hmm.
the relationship. So that was good because I knew I always wanted to have kids. But when we met, we couldn't even get married. We definitely couldn't adopt in a lot of places. And I didn't really understand what surrogacy was in IVF. I never really heard of that before.
Right.
So, about 7 years ago is when we started talking about maybe having kids and learning what surrogacy was. And then it took us about 5 years to actually get our kids. We went through a hell of a time, figuring out, how it was going to happen. We went through so many different donors. We were pregnant with twins before, but then lost them around like 6 weeks. So, it was
So it's spinning both of your sperm and then it's IVF with the surrogate parent. So
yeah. So
the kids look like both of you,
exactly. So
theoretically.
we split the eggs, so our
Okay.
donor, had a certain amount of eggs. We split them and we would, make embryos, half his, half mine. And then we put, because you can tell the viability of the egg, of the embryos. So they'll put the healthiest girl in and we put the healthiest boy in. And so we were like hoping that, because a lot of times only one sticks, but we were just hoping that both would stick, and they did. And that's how we got Alexander and Violet.
You have a girl and a boy. That is
Yeah.
so. And how old are they now?
They're 16 months now.
Oh, so you're still full. Oh, they're babies.
Oh,
Wow. Oh, you're fully in it.
yeah, that's why I look a
Wow.
little tired right now.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Well, congratulations. That's beautiful. That's
It's
so
great.
nice.
I'd say we hit the jackpot because they're the
Beyond.
best kids. I mean, they're so great.
Beyond. That's so nice. And your whole family takes on a whole different identity and path and all of that. And
Mhm.
so you're active in environmental philanthropy.
Mhm.
How did you choose that? Because like I do disaster relief, and it's just interesting the road that we end up on.
Yeah.
And so many things are important. So environmental philanthropy, how did you land on that?
Well, as you know, I love charity, right? And especially when you're young and in the business, you're always being asked to do this, and you're like, yes, yes. But then you get
Right.
so pulled so thin that nothing really matters anymore. You're like, am I even helping at all?
No. Yes.
So
I know.
it's
You're
all about-
donating here and there to make yourself feel better. You're not doing anything. It doesn't mean anything. They're happy. They think it's awareness. You feel like a fraud. I fully get it.
But what are you doing? Like, are you making an impact? So,
Yeah.
it's choosing those things that you really like. Okay, I feel like I can do an impact here. And so with Environmental, Media Association, which, I chair, it's been so great. And it was really young. I was probably 25 or 26 when I moved to LA, and I was at a dinner party and the CEO of the EMAs was there, and they gave a presentation. I'm like, oh my gosh, I never really cared about the planet. Sadly, I just did not care. I didn't know what the problems were. I remember the ozone, hole that we had in the 80s that we all, got together and fixed that. But I didn't realize how dangerous it was getting for our planet.
And you see a lot of the bullshit, right? Like so much. I also find it challenging, and this isn't, I'm not even going to give a disclaimer. It's me saying and not you. There was just something on TikTok with Rihanna saying, like, I used to use a lot of wipes and no more. I have to care about this planet. But then I'm thinking about Fenty Beauty and all the plastic and all the stuff. And is it all refillable? And I'm not even judging her, but like, there's a lot of bullshit. You're not using wipes, but you're producing endless plastic shit that all these people are buying, all this stuff. So I'm just saying everybody's talking out of both sides of their mouth with the environment, I feel.
And, every little bit does help, but it's the big things that we have to go after first. All these huge corporations with their carbon emissions, and it really it starts with the Congress too. I mean, it's really trying to get all these bills passed, and you know how impossible that is these days. I mean, when we had the last president in place, we couldn't do anything at EMA. We couldn't even really post things. Like, they would not allow us to do anything. They were so anti-environment. Because climate change is a fraud. They really, although we have every single bit of information about how this planet is warming way too quickly, and it's basically past the point of no return at this point. But the fact that people can't see physically all these crazy storms and what's happening to this planet.
Oh, you should talk to my partner Michael, who's in Turkey and Syria doing relief work, and he told me We were in Guatemala. It was after Hurricane Maria. We had done a lot of work there. And then we were in Guatemala. There was a volcano erupted. And he said, as if he was like Nostradamus, I'm going to give Michael Capone the credit. He said, we are about to see a series of storms and weather patterns, the likes that we have never seen. Because I started relief work with Hurricane Harvey. And that was a big... Katrina and then Hurricane Harvey. That was a big deal then. People thought that was a big deal. That's nothing now. Like literally, Harvey, it was nothing compared to Maria. And then there were fires in Australia. I'm just saying it's been a very weird, energetic world, weather, disaster pattern time. It's like these aren't headlines because there are too many. There have been too many storms and things like that. Well, when you do disaster relief, you're happy, but you feel like a loser because like it's not even a drop in the bucket, and we're $20 million in aid right now in Turkey, and you still feel like doing anything? Like, are we and we are, but like it's hard. You must feel like, are we doing anything? Like we're doing it, but are we? It must be very defeating in a way, as inspiring.
It is. It really is. And the older you get and your priorities, especially like having kids, it's like, do I have the energy to do this anymore? It's like, now can the younger generation pick up where we left and just take over, because it's just so tiring.
Well, that's the thing. You have to make sure that other people will do it with the same passion as you have. Yeah. Because I used to go to every single disaster, and then Paul would say to me, and I'd say, it's not right. I'm not right now in Ukraine, but we've raised millions and millions. I have raised. And he's like, I don't think the president of Coca-Cola needs to be putting all the syrup in the bottles. Like, I actually feel guilty because today I'm on Fox News talking about Turkey and raising money, and my entire team is there. Yeah. I'm not there, but they're doing God's work, and I'm just now the sort of messenger manager, the head of the whole thing. Yeah. But I feel tremendous guilt about it because I feel like I'm an imposter.
No, well, that's definitely not true. I mean, what you have done for these disasters is just insane. And there needs to be that person that manages it all. You don't have to be the person on the front line.
I know. You get it, though. You get what I'm saying.
Of course. Yeah. I understand that guilt for sure. But
the one person that's there is obviously not going to be as effective as here. But anyway, back to who cares? I mean, I care, but okay. So what else are you working on now? Like, if I ran into you, if I was on a plane with you and said, like, what do you do? What would you say? Like, what's your job now?
Well, I mean, basically TV and film has been my baby for a while. Have lots of films being made right now, a lot of TV shows.
You're acting in or producing also?
Both, kind of back and forth. It's weird. I can't decide. Every time I'm like, you know what? I love being behind the camera. This is like where I belong. I love this. I love creating. And then all of a sudden I'll get like all these offers for like these movies. I'm like, well, okay, I guess I'm going to be an actor this year. But honestly, I love it all. So as long as I can do both, I'm very happy. So,
and what kind of characters are you playing? Are you ever playing yourself?
A lot of the time. I mean, especially with TV, they're like, oh, we want you to do, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, great. What's the character like? Oh, yourself, but the exaggerated version of yourself. I'm like, okay, I've played the exaggerated version of myself. I don't know how many times. But this year is going to be fun.
Yourself isn't even yourself anymore. Like Lance Bass is not you.
Who I am anymore.
Yeah, I don't. It's a character. That's so funny. Very few people are like the caricature of themselves. That's really interesting.
I mean, it's so true. But this year I do have a couple of movies, great comedies that I actually get to really act in. So that'll be fun. And then I've just been loving going back in front of the microphone. I've had radio shows before, but with Frosted Tips, it's been really fun. But also we're getting into scripted podcasts, which is kind of the new thing. And as a producer, it's really fun because you can take your ideas that you create and write, you can make a scripted podcast of it. So you actually get to hear what it is and then take that to the studio and be like, well, here's the show. You can listen to it now. One of my favorites is coming out now. It's called The Last Soviet. And it's a scripted podcast about a true story about this cosmonaut who was stuck in space when communism fell.
Wow.
Fascinating to just to relive that history through a cosmonaut's eyes and show you like just how everything is so political, even space. But it's such a great show.
Wait, what is a cosmonaut?
A cosmonaut is a Russian astronaut. So
okay.
I'm a cosmonaut,
okay. Got it. Wow. I like that. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And you didn't mention music, which is so funny because, and I read in some of the research I did that people always ask you about the, getting the band back together. And I did see at the Backstreet Boys at the iHeart Awards. And I did think of you and this and think, wait, why? It was the best part of the Jingle Ball. It was so iconic and so fun and campy and alive. And I thought, and what is the answer? Guys will do that or no?
I mean, who knows? We've been talking about it for 20 years and I mean,
but why? Why don't you organize it? That's so you.
You would think I'd be the one, but no, music really burnt me out. Like I didn't have the best experience in the music industry. So I just kind of cut that out. And with my guys, like all 5 of us, very opinionated. It's like herding cats with us. It is very, very hard to get us to decide on anything.
Let me ask you a stupid question. What would have to be decided upon? Like, wouldn't there just be a series of events? Like, wouldn't you guys just say, yeah, of course we're going to perform together at the iHeart Awards and perform these songs that we've all performed together?
Yeah.
Like, and does it have to be with everybody? Like, what if just, so let's say Justin didn't want to do it, obviously, or maybe, like, what, does he have to be in it?
It's just, one guy thinks that, they're purists. It has to be all 5. And,
I don't think that. Do you think that the Beatles have had multiple different members, haven't they? And the Rolling Stones, no?
No, I mean, I don't think that at all. I mean, every single band just has different iterations as,
right.
They get legacy bands always do that. But yeah.
And this is giving people what they want. This is effectively, it could be almost none of you in it, but it happens to have you. Like, you want to give them what they want. You could almost be the caricature versions of yourself doing it.
I mean, we could be holograms at this point. Just, the fans just want to hear the music and see the dancing.
I'm literally calling Connell Byrne from iHeart and saying, can you please get them back together? Because of the iHeart Awards.
One day. I mean, I say never, but I think
it's also exhausting. It's not one night. It's a whole thing. And
that's the thing. If we did it again, it would have to be world tour, new album. Like it would be full.
It's exhausting.
It would be a one-off thing. So yeah,
that's so true.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, is Backstreet Boys making fuck you money or just good money?
Major fuck you money.
Fuck you money. So that's the thing.
And thank God, because just like us, they got screwed through Lou Pearlman, right? And by the time their career started kind of going down, they were finally making money, but then, it wasn't the hype that it was. Now, I think Backstreet Boys are kind of at the peak they've ever been right now.
Totally.
Huge.
Yeah.
And so they own their stuff. They're planning their tours. I mean, they are making some good. Yeah.
But I respect you not caring that much. You know the money they're making, and you're like me with the guy who said to me, let's build this and let's do that, and you'll go on tour and you do the weekend with Bethenny. I'm like, no, I'm exhausted listening. So you're never going to get the time back with your twins. It's a fact. You won't get it back.
It's true.
So that's why you're saying it this way. You have a beautiful home, you have a beautiful relationship, and the blue vase behind you, I believe, is a Baccarat vase. Because I have it in clear, and this is a crazy story, and then I'll let you go. I had 14-foot ceilings in my old apartment, and that vase was on a top shelf, just decorative, like it's on your table. And I heard a thud in the other room, like an earthquake. And I went in the other bedroom in Soho, and that vase was on the floor with a giant dent in those ridges in the floor, and the vase did not break.
Oh, yeah, that thing's sturdy. I have a big purple one, too, over there.
It did not break. How crazy is that? Yeah, so anyway.
Yeah. If someone breaks into your house, that's what you use to defend
exactly. Well, now I do know you better, Lance. Did you ever, are you still friends with Lisa Vanderpump?
Of course. She's our godmother to my kids.
Stop. Oh, you're really good friends with her.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we live real close to each other. Her daughter, Pandora, had a kid just at the same time we did. So we have weekly play dates and we have music classes together. So yeah, so we're very, very in each other's lives.
And it wasn't really because I always thought it was because you were a big Housewives fan, but it's not because of that.
No, I mean, I knew Lisa before she was on House. I'm the one who told Andy, look, remember this name, Lisa Vanderpump. You need to put her on freaking Beverly, because they were just putting Beverly Hills together. I'm like, you're going to remember this name. And
I didn't know that. I did. I thought you were a fan, and that's why. Oh, that's amazing. Because then
my husband made me a Housewife fan. Like once I started dating him, I watch every every iteration of Housewives.
Okay, well, one day we'll do Rewives and we'll do an episode that Lisa was in, because and he can chime in. Lance, you're amazing. It's so nice to talk to you, and I really am excited to have heard about your life, like now to know you better.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's always good to see you, Bethenny.
You too. Well, kiss the babies. Tell Lisa I said hello, and have a wonderful day. That was Lance Bass, and the show never ceases to amaze me. And to be honest, Just Be, unlike Rewives, there's different types of research. With Rewives, you watch an episode and then break it down with someone, and it's really usually about the two of you versus the episode. With Just Be, I'm doing homework too, and I don't do homework in my life. So with Just Be, I print out information about the people and learn about them. And, you know, I thought Lance Bass was friends with Lisa Vanderpump because of the Housewives. Nothing of the sort. I thought he was like a super fan of Housewives, that type of campy thing. Nothing of the sort. He's so calm. He's so not extra. You know, he is a character of himself. And that's why I love the show, because I get to really get a sense of people. And I say to Paul, my fiance, when we're at dinner, I'm like, I actually know Lance Bass now from the show. I know Cheryl Hines now. And it makes me happy because I feel like I become friends with them because we're talking for so long. Even though I've known Kelly Ripa for years, talking to her on the show, I got to know her way better from just listening to her life and knowing what her mom was like and things like that. So I love this. So thank you so much. Remember to rate, review, and subscribe. And I appreciate you listening. Have an amazing day.